What's up, everybody? You already know what's happening right now. This is where you get your students' intel, student thoughts, a lot of good feedback, a lot of good discussion right here. Got Jason Watkins, Hall of Fame College Football Podcast with the coach. Out to Coach Roy Ball. Then we also have Chris Mason here, Mr. Students 360 himself. Go check out the Patreon. I always got to do that quick plug real quick. Then obviously me, Horns Down Podcast. Like, subscribe, do all those different things on all three channels. We're here every Thursday night, here around about 8 o'clock. And tonight, fellas, we are talking about this Auburn game, this Auburn matchup that seemed pretty testy on OU Twitter. It's been some back and forth. There's been a lot of talk. Obviously, the biggest storyline out of this game is that Jackson Arnold returns to Norman. So I think with that being said, we could jump right into it. Obviously, there's something that just dropped, and that I think a lot of people will finally have a bit of peace of mind about the whole injury situation. So, Jason, I'll let you take over.
The injuries. This is going to give us peace of mind. Is that what we're talking about?
It's better than yesterday.
I guess it is better than yesterday. So yeah, let me go ahead and drop it into in here real quick. It was there just a second ago, but I'm moving shit around the wrong stuff though. All right, here we go. All right. It is better than yesterday, I guess, huh? Still got your first half out for our Mason. Hope everybody can see that pretty good, but showing Jeremiah Newcomb. We pretty much knew about the other stuff, but out first half for him as well. You still have Giovanni Gibson and Eli Bowen on the doubtful list. But questionable Isaiah Dent and Marvin Jones Jr. Probables, that's a lot of guys that are the probables that weren't there yesterday, right? So Zion Kearney, Contez Lewis, Danny Okoye looking like he's going to be back as well. Fabechi Wiwu, Michael Fasusi, and of course, is that Michaela?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll kind of pass it over to you there, Mr. Mason.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Jeremiah Newcomb thing is a little bit of new news that's kind of got out. Apparently, he's hurt. He may have to have some season-ending surgery. Got that from the OU Insider podcast. I hadn't heard that. Obviously, the three other offensive linemen that are out, we know that Troy Everett's out for the season. We know Jacob Sexton's probably not back until like Ole Miss, something like that. Jake Taylor, I don't know really how to describe what's going on with Jake. I think he's just trying to get through the year, be part of the team, and be before moving on, outside of football. Giovanni Gibson and Eli Bowen, I think it's looking like the plan always has been to kind of keep them out through the bye week and then get them some reps for Kent State so that they're fully ready to go for the Texas game. I know sounds like OU's sticking to that plan. Isaiah Dent, as we know, is coming back from a knee injury. Sounds like he's practicing, Jason. But obviously he's coming back from a knee injury. We need him back. Need him to get him going as much as possible. The Marvin Jones Jr. thing is probably the most surprising thing coming out of the Temple game. I didn't really pick up that he got hurt. So I'm not sure about that, but obviously Zion Kearney, Keontae Lewis looks like he's making his way through concussion protocol to be able to play. Danny Okoye, they kind of held him out of the game on Saturday, so I think he's probably ready to go and should take advantage of this opportunity. And then Weiwu, Fasusi, and Makala are really the three big ones because obviously Weiwu is Makala's real backup.
Yeah.
So, you can put in EPL and Foje at guard for Weiwu, but we don't really have a third center beyond Gunnar Allen, you can play Gunnar Allen against Kent State if you need to keep guys, off their ankles in 2 weeks. But you can't have him really playing against Auburn. So having both of those guys as probable, they were questionable last night. So I think that's a huge thing, especially if Fasusi can go at left tackle. That gives you Howland as your swing tackle to be able to play and give you some depth there. And then, if you can go, if Weiwu and Makala can both go, I think that's the line you wanted, and that's That's the line they want to play. Obviously, is for Susi, Ozetta, Makala, Waywu, and either Simmons or Howland, depending upon how they perform and who's healthy. So if we can start with that line again against Auburn, that's a big win coming out of coming off the injury report last night, where it made it sound like things might be a little hectic there. So that's a win on that side. Obviously, you'd like Marvin Jones Jr. and Danny not to be on there because we're losing our Mason Thomas. But I thought I'd throw it out to you guys. I think there's some interesting things OU could do in the first half. They could go do some 3-4 hybrid kind of looks, play D Stone at defensive end, Jaden at nose, Halton at big defensive end, and then put one of the other defensive ends and Kendall Daniels in the game as well. Do some 3-3-5 stuff as well with Kendall Daniels, so that you've got Daniels and Reggie Powers and Bowen and either Boganowski or Robert Spears Jennings, because the linebacker group is healthy. We've got good linebackers. I think there's some interesting stuff OU could do to throw some curveballs at Auburn while they're missing our Mason Thomas. But I will. So go ahead.
I was just going to say, so I tend to disagree on that one.
Okay.
So I think that the 3-man front, I think you should save that down the road, a Tennessee game, something like that. Simply because when you watch Auburn, I've been telling a couple of guys who've asked, like, what's your thoughts about this game? Like, what are the things you got to do? I think defensively we'll be just fine. We faced kind of an East-West team, at least thus far. At least that's what we turned Michigan into. For a majority of that game was kind of an East-West RPO team. Only difference was that Bryce Underwood wouldn't really take off. I mean, they were doing a lot of RPO stuff, just trying to get our eyes this way, that way, and then they had to try to open it up at some point. But regardless, though, when you look at this Auburn team, they like to overemphasize a lot of things, and that's simply because of I guess some of the limitations that Jackson still has. Jackson is still a one-read quarterback. So they're trying to give him the check downs with some of those mesh routes, especially right there in the middle of the field. I believe that they're going to come in here trying to run what they did last year, which is a lot of quick game, a lot of quick hitches, getting Singleton out there on some of these little screens, or having him motion out just kind of in the flat too as well, just to kind of do that, and then Laws to sleep to try to throw one over the top with Cam Coleman. He seems to just be their true stretch guy, right? I know the Horatio Fields guy is just another. He's another kind of a Keontez Lewis. He's a good possession guy right now. Probably has more talent than that, but from what I've seen is that. But when I say overemphasize, Mr. Mason, to me, the thing that has kind of stuck out about Auburn has been, whenever they're running, like literally with that RPO, obviously you can say it's about a lot of different teams, but literally that offensive line is moving in one direction. I mean, if they're going right, they're going all the way right as much as they possibly can to leave basically a true one-on-one matchup with whoever is going to be the defender, whether that's at the first level, the second level of the defense, whatever, for Jackson. So the decision is very easy for him. You go and watch that game that they just had against South Alabama, and you see the offensive line, the entire team is basically going over there. And it looks like it's going to be a screen. It looks like it's just a simple motion route, simple motion and drop off in the flat. That doesn't the whole defense shifts that way. The whole offense is that way. What does Jackson do? He just takes off untouched. So it's one of those things where I think that they are trying to create scenarios for him where it is extremely easy to, one, read the defense, and two, take off with the ball, but not be in some of the same situations he was last year at OU, where he takes off, get popped, and then boom, fumbles or throws a pick because he's too indecisive. So that's my only worry about possibly running that 3-man front, because I think that you can give him those looks, but I think a 4-man front, because they have some good backs. Austin and Cobb, especially Cobb, those are some good backs. So I think that some of what you did against Michigan in that piece where you had guys there ready to tackle their running backs, Haynes and the Marshall kid, but you also had a guy or two that were already sitting there and waiting for Bryce Underwood to take off with the ball. So I think that so long as we're disciplined in that spot, or excuse me, in those spots, I think we should be fine and we can take away his run. I think the thing is just turning him into making him feel uncomfortable by saying you're going to have to beat us with your arm. I don't know necessarily you load up the box. I don't think that's the thing because again, Cam Coleman is a really good wide receiver. Singleton is a really good wide receiver, and Horatio Fields seems to be pretty solid. I like our matchups. I like Gentry on Singleton or whoever he's going to be on with Coleman. And I'll be honest with you, I'd like to see them try to go at Guillory. I think Guillory's not playing like a freshman right now. So it'd be interesting to see him in that spot, and I think that he would accept that challenge. I think he wants that challenge. So I'm interested to see that. I think that all the talk about BV knows him and then Jackson knows him just as well. I think that's just a crapshoot. I think at the end of the day, it's again kind of what I said these past couple of weeks. It's going to be different for when you're getting a 4-man rush. Then you know that you're getting a blitz from Boganowski or RSJ, guys like that coming off that, just hiding right there behind there when you know that these guys are going to blitz. It's going to be different whenever, boom, you know that this hitch route is going to be there, but then Marvin Jones Jr., PJ, or Taylor Wine, they drop back in coverage, and then you have guys feeling and shifting. That's whenever you're going to say, okay, have you taken that next step, Jackson? So that's my
and that's where I'm like, I think that they can get pressure with their normal light box, just having 5 guys. You know what I mean? So I know that they like their offensive line and everything, and they've been getting a lot of push as far as that goes. But what you still haven't seen is Jackson being willing to throw the ball downfield. Josh Pate was talking about it on his stuff over the last few days himself, that everything is inside of 10 yards. So the question would be, does he go crazy and decide that he's going to just say screw it and start throwing? I mean, we haven't seen him do that. So I think that until he proves that he's willing to go deep down the field, I don't know why you would change anything up if you're Oklahoma. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. And Chris Mason, I think that your idea could potentially work, though. I mean, if necessary, if you're trying to work some things out, I think that you could do that, especially if you're in a spell. I think that
it's just if you're down defensive ends, right? Obviously, our interior D line guys, we've got 5 guys that can play. David Stone and Halton can be 3-4 defensive ends. You've got Daniels, and you've got Daniels and Taylor Wine can be stand-up defensive ends for you to do some stuff. You can throw a different look. You can go a 5-man look. I'm just saying if you need to use that. But the other guy, I was shocked. I mean, beyond Marcus Strong, who had a good day against Temple, a little more when I looked at the film. The other guy who I think we can play is Wyatt Gilmore. Looked fantastic in the Temple game, flying off the edge. So I think
good too, man.
He looks. No, he looks leaner and faster than he did in his high school film. So I was just wondering if you could. Brent's obviously knows how big this game is. He knows he doesn't want to lose to Jackson Arnold. He knows he's got the home crowd. If he can throw some stuff at this Auburn offense that just gets them completely. We know Arnold's not, he isn't reading the field to adjust to new stuff, right? We know that. We know that. And if they can't pound the ball, like they did against Baylor, and their other games, and they've struggled a little bit, against South Alabama, et cetera.
That's the funny part to me is that, that's what we keep hearing is that, that they're going to run the ball really well. Somebody's saying Auburn was going to get 200 rushing yards on Oklahoma. Good luck with that. You know what I mean? It's because, first off, if that's what OU's expecting to come, they know you're going to make them prove that they're going to run the football, or they're going to be able to run the football against you, and that because you're going to be kind of keeping it in that 5-2, that 5-2-4 look or whatever. That's what I feel like is going to happen. And then if they're not going to be able to run out of that and then they don't end up passing, look, if you get behind here, if you're Auburn and you get behind in this ball game, you're going to be forced to go to the air. And if you're not willing to go down the field, first of all, and that's just assuming that they can beat you down the field. But if you're not willing to go down the field and you're Jackson Arnold, you start throwing underneath stuff, they're going to eat you alive there. That turn into a Peyton Thorne, pick six kind of deal.
I would, I jump in here and I say this as well. I think that for the most part, I've seen people kind of go back and forth, but I've seen a lot of national media say, the pressure really is on Venables and company because you don't want to, lose this game, this and that, all the rest of that. I'll be honest with you. For me, at least, maybe it's just me, but I kind of feel like the emotion that everybody's trying to build this up to is not necessarily there, simply because I think that both teams understand what this game means, and this is a step in the right direction for both of them. Because I know that what we have, we have the bye week, we have Kent State, then we have Texas, and then after that, we know we have our gauntlet. Auburn needs this win because after this game they have a pretty like a mini gauntlet as well, right? But to me, I think the thing is that people got to take a step back and really understand the gamesmanship that's going on. Obviously, these are the storylines that the media is throwing. We know we talked about it, this and that. We said, "Oh, you need this win." Obviously, we said that, and Michigan. All three of us said this this past offseason. But for me, I just don't see Hugh Freeze putting Jackson Arnold in that type of moment right there, and putting all that pressure on him to go out there and try to single handedly beat OU, right?
Not
Because
unless he has to, unless it's forced on him.
unless it's forced upon him to make these certain plays or whatever
Correct.
the case may be.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
I mean, the thing is that some of the indecisiveness, some of the, hell, last year, the play against Tennessee where he throws that backwards pass or whatever, he did that literally last week. So some of those things are still there. The, taking off with the
They did
ball.
it against Baylor too. They recovered that one too.
He's handling the ball. I mean, he's handing the ball off an awful lot more with his running backs, but at the same time, it's one of those things where some of those things start to creep in. So it's a game where I think that if you get some hurries and you get a couple of sacks or two or whatnot, kind of turns into a whole Landry Jones situation. We all know Landry Jones was amazing until he started hearing footsteps. His feet got happy. He started trying to leave the pocket early. He started trying to do certain things that just like, what are we doing, right?
Just
So
want to thank Sooner Legend Podcast with a super chat real quick. $10 super chat from Sooner Legend Podcast says stay away from toxic toys.
Please. It will have you thinking that that if we don't win this game, this is the
end of the road.
So no, I mean the whole thing is that when you go and watch them, I think that even if they are successful in certain areas, I still believe in my heart of hearts that this defense will get enough stops for the offense to go and do their thing. And to me, that's going to be the real matchup to watch: is can Mateer and Arbuckle can they have themselves a day? Because from the film that I've watched all three games, but in particular the Baylor game and the gosh, who they play last week, South Alabama game. You can run on this defense. You can throw on this defense.
Definitely throw on this defense.
They don't tackle well on the back end. It's kind of like a Temple scenario. They don't tackle on the back end. They are aggressive. They up front they are stout. They can get stops. They have a decent defensive line. I think the thing is though is that a lot of the stuff that we like to run with just having guys sit in that zone, being able to run the quarterback a bit. You saw in the Baylor game, you saw a little bit in the South Alabama game too. You can use your tight end. You can use Koenig. I remember Michael Trigg was going crazy in that Baylor game, up and down the seam. little drag routes, little skinny posts, different things like that. He was going crazy in that game. So the thing is why can't Kanik have that same type of effect as well? So there's a lot of success to be had against this Auburn defense. You're playing at home. You should be comfortable. Whole thing is just going out there and execute. I think that if you go out there and execute, when I watch Auburn, I say in my heart of heart, there's no reason that we shouldn't beat this team by two plus touchdowns. If that doesn't happen, I'd probably be disappointed. We get a win. That's all that matters.
Yeah, and I think that what a lot of the stuff that you've been hearing about, the turnover situation, like you said a few minutes ago, I mean, we've seen him literally make that same throw behind the line of scrimmage, and the first one in the Baylor game, they recovered it, but it was a loss of like 20 yards almost. Whenever they did, it could have been really bad because they almost scooped and scored that thing. To me, that was huge. Then you see it again last week against South Alabama, and let's be real. He had 54% completion percentage in that game as well, and didn't have as many touchdowns. He didn't have as many completions as the kid from South Alabama. So it's to me, they're talking about Mateer having a turnover in each game. The first two interceptions, number one, the game one, we saw what he did. He was trying to keep Burks from getting his head knocked off. The second week, what's the big tight end's name?
Huggins.
Huggins. He didn't get his head around. The ball was coming and he didn't get his head around.
He didn't sit down. He didn't sit down, and he should have. He was going too far. He was,
right. But the ball was on him, and his head didn't get around until the ball was already on him, and it caroms off of him. It's an interception. The one last week, you can say what you want about it. I mean, and he did get Keontae Lewis popped, but they're acting like he's been really not good with the football. And in truth be told, they've literally gotten 3 points off of those 3 turnovers. The opposition's gotten 3 points off of those 3 turnovers that he's gotten. Or did they even get a field goal out of those?
I don't think they didn't get the field goal out of the INT, did they?
The one from Michigan?
In the Michigan game, I don't think they did.
No, they didn't. You're right.
I mean, they got the fumble gave them the field goal in the Michigan game.
Okay. Yeah.
The Michigan game is the long
no
touchdown.
Points off of those turnovers is the thing. So it's not as if he's being really reckless with the football the way that you would hear it, the way that they want you to hear it, and the way that it's being made out to be. So I'm definitely, if there's a way to lean in this game, if you think it's towards Jackson Arnold and Auburn as the better quarterback in this game, I want to know what the fuck football you've been watching for the last 2 years.
So it's a similar situation to last year, in my opinion, and this is why I say it's a lot of gamesmanship going on, simply because obviously the narrative is Jackson. We know, we feel like as fans, we feel like we know what the weaknesses of his game is. We feel like we know that, right? Yeah. It's setting up to kind of be another Peyton Thorne situation, and Peyton Thorne had a lot of success against us last year, but again, you don't have Des Mahone out there, and you don't have Kenai Walker. Thank those guys for wearing the jersey. Thank those guys for what they did. They were solid at best last year, especially with the situation that they were thrown into. I think that if we were healthy and all the rest of that stuff, these are guys that from time to time can play starter minutes, different things like that, but they would have been heavy in a rotation. I think we would have been fine. Not saying that they were just twos that got abused, but let's be real. Last year they were working that ball down the field, just digging and diming down the field. All they were doing just running quick hitch routes on the out. With their outside receivers, they were literally just running little 5-yard out routes because we were setting off of them. We weren't pressing. We weren't even 5 yards off of them. We were 10 yards off of them. So not only were they able to do that, but also on top of that, they were able to start connecting on some of those sideline throws themselves. So I'm eager to see, how does Hugh want to attack us? Is that something that he tries to do to get him in a rhythm, to get those guys in a rhythm? Obviously, Singleton has let's be real. This offense has kind of morphed into an option, a style attack. I think that Hugh Freeze would like to just spread it out and go ahead and say, hey, I'm going to put 300 yards on you for sure through the air, but I don't think that's Jackson Arnold's game.
It's
So,
not. I
but
mean, he had 300. He had a 300-yard passing game once, and he
uh,
had 3 interceptions in that game, and they lost.
but I do think that again. I mean, Chris Mason. Am I wrong to think that Hugh Freeze comes out there with a similar game plan to where maybe he tries to attack the middle on us, but he definitely tries to work our corners and test them early. Try to see if we can get if they can get some one-on-one battles or try to get a safety off his catch a safety not looking or whatnot. That way they can try to get a one-on-one for Cam Coleman down the field.
I don't know what else they really can. I mean, I don't know what else on the OU defense you attack. I mean, the front four is mauling people. The linebackers are doing a good job in coverage and doing a good job in run support. The safeties, Bowen and RSJ, have had good years. I mean, the only place to really, this is sort of the last test for the defense, right? Is that, can Auburn, with their two skill guys, can they get big plays in the passing game off our cornerback group? And I don't know what else. I don't know what else you freeze. I don't anticipate anybody living on 3 yards in a cloud of dust against our front four and against our backers. And with the way Brent is going to use, attack, always make sure he's attacking the run and even the QB run game. I mean, you watch some of the stuff from the games we've played, and you watch it was like the dissecting the play where David Stone blew up the short yardage play, right, against Temple. And, if the quarterback keeps it, Robert Spears Jennings is just waiting to blow him up. So it's not like whenever you look at the Michigan defensive effort, as you guys already referenced, we're shutting down the running back. There are dudes waiting to tee off on Bryce Underwood. So, Jackson can keep the ball, but he better understand that this isn't Baylor, who, for some insane reason, played 2 high safeties and their front. I'll be honest, Baylor's defensive line is just not good. It's not good. It's small and it's not fast.
But they would have you. That's not what they would have you believe at Auburn.
Well, I mean, I watched SMU go up and down the field on them. I mean, they beat SMU, but Baylor beat SMU, right?
Oh.
But it wasn't because their defense stepped up and did anything. It was because Sawyer Robertson pulled a miracle.
The comparison there between Oklahoma and Baylor defensively is stupid.
Yeah,
it might be the dumbest thing I've even seen.
Yeah, so it's I don't know where else, Chris. I don't know where else. I don't know where else they go. I mean, no one's gonna. I don't think anyone's gonna have a lot of down over down success against us. PJ, if he has to play, is playing the run really well, and he will tee up a quarterback as well. I mean, he's playing very physical. He's not playing perfect, but he is playing so much better, and he's a physical freak. I just don't see where else Auburn has to go other than we're going to have to cut Arnold loose a little bit, and he's going to have to test our corners. Now, while he's doing that, we could see Peyton Bowen jumping in front of some passes and getting some pick sixes. Kendall Daniels deflecting some stuff, especially if they try over the middle. I don't trust Arnold to throw over the middle. Really, I wouldn't. So I don't know what else. If our D line wins the O line game, which they've done so far, and I'm not hearing that Auburn's O line is some Joe Moore Award winner, and if they are, then they haven't been proving it this year. I don't know where else. I don't know what your other counter move is, because
it's the mesh route, man. They've ran it they've ran it a bunch. I think the interesting part about this offense, this Auburn attack. Now, this is just my opinion. Please correct me if I'm wrong. One of the things that I've seen some of the earlier OU teams struggle with was a lot of that eye candy that you would see pre-snap, right?
Yeah.
A lot of emotion, a lot of different things. But unless they've been saving something, and obviously you did not see them, I think that eventually it got to the point where, we can just run vanilla offense now. But I think at some points in that Baylor game, they had to kind of open it up. I wouldn't say through the full kitchen sink, but I'll say they definitely had to open up at times. So my point, Chris Mason, my point, Jason, is simply that they don't do a whole lot of motion unless it's Singleton. I mean, let's just be real. I mean, unless he's moving or doing something, or
Yeah.
they're motioning him out or motioning him across. I mean, it's not necessarily a lot going on there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
they haven't really gotten him involved much.
Uh-huh.
And everything that they've thrown to him so far has been everything that they've completed so far has been of the short variety, aside from that 30-yard touchdown pass that he had to Cam Coleman last weekend. That's basically it. And I mean, or maybe I don't know. I'm going to tell you, I didn't really watch a ton of the Ball State game where he went crazy for 350 yards. This isn't Ball State, and them talking there's been a lot of talk out there about their defensive front being so good and them getting so many sacks. What they don't talk about is of the 11 sacks that Auburn has, 6 of them came against Ball State, who the week before that gave up 4 to Purdue. So that's talking the worst offensive line probably in the country, and going up against, Power 4 competition, it could get ugly like that, 6 of those. And so if you look at those ones, Oklahoma's definitely getting home just as much as they are. They just went up against a worse team as far as offensively than OU did.
Well, I'll put it like this right here. If you watch the South Alabama game, especially now, that game was 31-15.
Right.
There were
Probably
two,
wasn't that close though.
huh?
It probably wasn't really that close, but he made some mistakes and stuff, and they had some drops too.
Well, South Alabama was moving the ball. There was an interception and there was a fumble. They had a fumble that cost them the opportunity to potentially at least make it 31-18, or hell, even go score a touchdown and make it 31-21. They would have probably still lost. There were 8 minutes left in the game.
Sure.
But still, they made it difficult on him. But at the same time, defensively, they got caught right in couple spots. But when you look at the South Alabama offense and you watch that game, you can watch the highlights, you can watch the full game. That gives you hope that the fundamentals of this offense that Arbuckle is running, you can have a lot of success on that. The inside run, running at that, running off of your tackle, that seems to be pretty good. That seems to work. You can run some screens. You can run a lot of what you've been running. Some of what the Temple offense, what you saw against Temple, you could run a bunch of those things against this team. You can catch them slipping with the again some of your quick game, but also what hurts them is that having guys like a Keontez Lewis or Deion Burks, having explosive guys, but also having guys that know when not to. I don't need to make the big play. I just need to become a possession receiver so I can move the sticks, right? Staying in short yardage distances or whatever is going to help us. If we can establish some sense of a run, I'm not asking for 100 yards from Blaylock this game, but if we can establish some sense of run and have a decent day on the ground, obviously I would like to see us not have to use material a lot. But even with that, if that's what it takes, and that's what it takes. But at the same time, if we can establish some of the same things that some of these other teams have, they haven't played all the way vanilla. And again, if you're playing vanilla and all the rest of that stuff, some of these teams have looked pretty good against you. But again, Baylor and South Alabama, they tend to have a lot. They had a lot of success. It's just the fact that at some point Auburn wore on them.
Yeah. But here's the thing, and I mean, we're talking about, we'll get into that in a second. But, and that's the other part of it is, look, I said this before, and I'll say it again. The secondary here, they gave up. If you want to talk about the Baylor game, you better talk about what you gave up to the Baylor quarterback through the air. 400-plus passing yards. The secondary stinks like homeless shelter butt. It's bad. There ain't nothing good about it. So if we're going to talk about where, that's a huge deal that, you can say that Mateer's put the ball in harm's way if you want to. He's also been throwing he's thrown more touchdowns than J.A. has. and he's rushed for just as many on the ground. But you're going to have to stop Oklahoma from getting the ball down the field, and I think they probably open it up and send it that way. I mean, I think you open it up early on. You put it in a situation where now, you're not going to run the football on them. But if you can go out there and even get a 10-point lead, now all of a sudden, Jackson Arnold has to throw the ball. When that happens, it could turn ugly, and I think it is going to turn ugly. Yeah, the craziness coming from the Auburn fan base is wild to me. It's just wild to me to think that Oklahoma's the same programs that you've been playing so far. It's hilarious to me.
No, I mean it just one of those things, man. At the end of the day, Hugh Freeze is a good coach, and last year again, I think I can speak for all three of us and say we were all shocked with the game plan that he came out there with. Nobody thought that he was going to throw the ball as much as he did with Peyton Thorne. And on top of that, Peyton Thorne did not look that bad to start that game. So there were times where he finally looked the part, and until he didn't. Until he didn't. And
well, I mean, that was a stupid play call too, right? I mean,
you also had a bunch of 3-and-outs for Oklahoma too that made it look a lot worse than it was. Go ahead, sorry, Mr. Mason.
I was just looking back at the game last year, and Peyton Thorne bombed our secondary a little bit last year on their touchdown, and their drives were quick strike home runs. When they had to grind it out, they ended up, they had 2 long drives where they gave it up on downs, which is basically a turnover. And we all know the Kip 6. I mean, why he just didn't run the ball and punt on that play? Run the ball. If you get a first down, great. If not, just punt the football. Make Mike Hawkins with his offensive weapons of Hester, Jaquez Petaway, and Bauer Sharp, make him drive the field. Why they didn't do that. But yeah, I mean, I think again, this is, I just don't understand. I don't see. I mean, first off, I live in Atlanta, so let's just get something really clear here. Let's just remember Auburn is the Cow College of Alabama. Okay? So everything you know about Aggie Cow colleges, and it's in lower Alabama. Okay? That's another part. So if you don't understand the geography of Alabama, there's Alabama, and then there's lower Alabama, and then there's the Gulf Coast, right? And Auburn is in lower Alabama. Okay?
Stop it.
They're the Cow College of Alabama. So you take everything you know about Cow colleges and then multiply it by the fact they're in the marginalized part of Alabama. And so obviously their fan base are completely nuts. I mean, come on. I mean, it's like OSU fans who've had to watch OU win 13 national championships over the last 15 years. I mean, they're Alabama, even if they were sane before, Bama's success has turned them into some.
Oh yeah, they're Okie light.
I mean, they're just unhinged. So that's some perspective on Auburn for you. I mean, they're the Cow College of Alabama. Of course, they're just completely nuts and deluded.
Yeah, and like claiming 4 new national championships or 5 or whatever it was. 4
and one of them they went 6-3 and 6-3-1 in 1914. Mm-hmm. Give me a break. So yeah, I mean they are, and that's a clear syndrome. They are, and of course Saban and Alabama have basically knocked them around for 15 years. So that hasn't helped. They weren't sane before that, and that certainly hasn't helped. But yeah, I mean if this game is in Norman.
Preseason, just think about this for a second. Before the season started, people were worried about them going to Baylor, getting the shit kicked out of them, and whether or not they were going to have to fire their coach right away.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they're. Let's remember that Baylor game. I mean, Arnold played well, but it was the kickoff return that put them up by 2 scores that allowed them to get some distance to handle the fact that in the second half. They had multiple
turnovers that were not forced turnovers. They were they turned the ball over and didn't.
Yeah, Robertson.
They moved the ball as much as they felt like doing it. Yeah. For Baylor, they outgained them on the ground completely. It was the turnovers that killed it.
And it was the special teams touchdown. And let's remember, and Aranda, I was talking to my buddies who were watching the game, and they were like, "What the hell is he doing?" They want to run the ball. Auburn doesn't want to throw. Why is he staying in 2 high safeties all game?
All game.
I mean, and his D line. I
I
mean,
mean, you didn't even make them show you that they were going to beat you.
Yeah.
with this vaunted wide receiver core that hasn't done shit yet. You didn't even make them prove that they could do it.
I mean, we know Brent is not going to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna drop 7 the entire time and let you guys run on me all game. That's not happening. We know that's not happening. That's not the way Brent's going to defend us. So this game comes down to our offensive line giving Mateer enough time to throw the ball and make big plays in the passing game. And if we could get some running game consistency, that would be great. If Blaylock could find a couple of holes and make some big runs. And also, that Temple run by John Mateer. And if you remember, there's been a lot of times I've watched what OU's doing, and Mateer keepers for big yards has been there a lot that he didn't do. Not so much against Michigan, but the other guys we played. So I wouldn't surprise me if John doesn't, and that's part of my prediction coming up. If John doesn't break a couple of there's some seams there. Auburn's over pursuing, over committing, and Mateer's a Mateer keeper, and they're like, oh shit, and they can't react that fast, and John goes 50 yards for a touchdown.
It's gonna be good.
Are you gonna don't?
We found Bevo's bodyguard.
I think it could be.
He's now an Auburn fan.
It's again. So biggest thing is just it's a trench battle. Honestly, it's a battle of the trenches. D line needs to be dominant, just like they have been, and then also just be disciplined. Be disciplined on that back end. Do not overcommit. No, hey, this guy will take off. You guys know him. You know that's what he feels most comfortable with. Force him to do that. Don't let him be the hero. Make him feel uncomfortable. But I think that an offensive line, we should have our guys back. We should be full ready to go. You may be nicked up a little bit, but at the same time, you should be able to go out there. Let's put on another show. Protect Mateer. Try to establish some sense of a run. Get the wide receivers going. Let's go from there. Biggest thing for me, people, again, I think that any college athlete will tell you that has ever been on any team, one of the best feelings that you can have is going to the bye week on a win. That is super important. I'll put it in this context right here. We're on a bye week. We're on a bye week next week, right?
Yeah.
So, and then I think there's another team that's on a bye week as well because our schedules line up. And then we come back, we play Kent State. They go to the Swamp, and then we beat up in Dallas. Right. So there's a lot of incentives on the back end of this right here because of the rest. The guys you get back to get practice reps in this week, recruiting, because the coaches are going to try to hit the road a little bit on this bye week. There's a lot of different incentives. This game is heavily incentivized. That's the reason why I say Jackson Arnold's at least in my worry. My worry is, hey, let's go out here and look good, obviously, but let's get a win. Go into this bye week, recruiting trails, good practice, get people healthy, come back, practice, another practice week. We go in and beat Kent State. Then we get ready for the rest of this, for the rest of what's going to be a gauntlet. Let's just be real. So this game is important for more reasons than just Jackson. So hopefully you guys are thinking fast forward. Now, obviously, I'm not trying to think past this game. Got to win this game. Got to win this game. Got to play this game first, 1-0, and take it from there. But again, on the back end of it, is heavily incentivized, and for me, that's what is the most important thing. So again, I think we do well. I'm ready for the predictions now, guys.
All right, let's hop to them.
Okay, let's. Last week's obviously we've got. You can take a look at what we did last week. Leading rusher. Let's see. It certainly was not Ott, and it wasn't Barnes either, though. So, but let's see. Leading receivers. Who ended up being the leading receiver, Mr. Satania. Okay, so we all missed on that.
It's Canick, Satania, real close. So of the three options, Canick was the winner.
Yeah. Okay. And I will say that I was at 42-3, I believe, but it says 42-6 there. I thought I was right on the money, but we did expect them to kind of go in and do what they were supposed to do. Let's move to this week anyway.
Yeah.
All right. It's not Temple, obviously, and it's not Michigan there either. I got in here about 20 minutes before we started this, so I screwed up this deal too. But anyway, go ahead and that can't be right. I don't think that's correct either. Yeah, it is. I've got Mateer as the leading rusher. So does Mr. Mason. Kchris, you're expecting something from X-Rob this weekend?
Yeah, man, it's kind of a wild card, but man, I just feel like this is a game where he could get going. I think Blaylock will be your starter. I think that Barnes will serve a purpose, but this is a game where I could see X-Rob easily getting in and being. This is just a game that's his play style. They like to hit, and he absorbs contact. So this is a game where I think that I think he's slowly but surely knocking off all the rust or whatnot, but I think it's all there. Just he has to play himself back into it. But I think this is a game where he could potentially do that.
He could be the fourth quarter closer, and that's where you're right on a couple of fourth quarter drives. We're just trying to grind clock, and X-Rob could be the guy that you go to.
I think that makes sense. Leading receiver for the second straight week, I'm going to say Canick. He didn't quite get there last week, but he continues to. I mean, he's leading the country for tight ends. This is not a great secondary, as we said. Home of shelter, but don't forget. I think he's going to have a big one, but I could definitely see either one of these other two guys doing their thing. Obviously Deion Burks, kind of expecting him to have another breakout game at some point as well. And Sategna looks better each week.
So Gabe Eicher keeps talking about Sategna on deep routes, right? That he's open and that Mateer just needs to find him. That's why I'm going with Sategna. I think we have a couple of long distance passing plays in the stats on Saturday. Okay. Sategna's one of the guys. By the way, the Canick recruiting note. We got to get a quick recruiting note in. The Canick thing is starting to have an impact in recruiting. There's a top tight end who should be on campus this weekend, and you can't tell me it's not due to the fact that he's seeing Canick getting the ball and Canick being the leading receiver among tight ends in the country.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. I mean, it makes sense. He's the leading pass catcher in the country right now. So that's the reason I have him as the leading receiver, because I think he's about to really have a monster game.
And again, he could find it. He could take something long, right? He could take a pass, find the seams. I mean, Trigg was, as Kchris said, Trigg he ate them up, and maybe he runs through a bad tackle and he houses something.
Yeah. And okay. Anything you want to say about Burks there, Kchris?
At first I picked Canick, but I think that Burks is gonna. I think he's due for another big day. I think that he's going to find himself having a really good day that weekend. Just leave it at that.
Okay. Will Mateer pass for 300 yards? You're the only one that said no to this one.
Man, I'm be honest with you. I think that I think he gets close, but I think this is a game where reason why I think it's addition by subtraction. I think that he gets his legs going a little bit in this game as well, to where he's able to have probably 40, 50 yards of rushing at the very least by himself.
Okay. All right. Let's see. So,
and I think it's a game of field position too. I think that we force a shit ton of punts, and I think that we may be in some short yardage situation. We may be in plus territory a lot off those punts as well.
Okay. I feel like still, again, with this secondary, I don't know that. I mean, I see him kind of getting over that number, but I could be wrong there. I see what you're talking about for sure. Will they have a 100-yard rusher? None of us seem to think so. But I almost said yes to this because I feel like I feel like things could get going, and you might end up seeing somebody break a long one. Torrey Blaylock obviously being the first 100-yard rusher for Oklahoma last week. That was great. And I think that, having him on the show or having his dad on the show the other day was pretty cool for us. So it was awesome to get to talk to him and everything. But man, Torrey Blaylock has looked fantastic. The concern out there about Jaden Ott it should be none, because this guy he looks fantastic. And honestly, when you look at what we saw a little bit more from X-Rob last week, but I mean, Javante Barnes has looked good as well. I think that the room itself is, they're not blowing anybody out off the charts as far as their numbers are concerned, but it looks better all the time,
Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing right here. Here's the plus, Sooner fans. I would say this. Um, we had a 100-yard game, a 100-yard rusher last game. So shout out to Torrey Blaylock, because I know we've been wanting that for a while, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, you've been put up really good rushing numbers by committee. That includes obviously Mateer, but at the same time, you've been putting up really good rushing numbers just by committee. It'd be nice to have that one guy, but for now, I think we're fine with it being by committee.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Well, a 100-yard receiver. We all think there's going to be a 100-yard receiver. So obviously, we're looking at those three guys up top. There could be other ones as well. It was good kind of to see, that you're seeing different guys getting to get in there, and he spread the ball around to a lot of different receivers. I think that's where Oklahoma has the most depth, obviously, is at wide receiver. We got a bunch of them. Baker's dozen, Let's see. Next up, let's see. Will OU score a special teams touchdown? We all say no to that, more than likely. I mean, I'm still waiting for Satana to run one back, though. It wouldn't surprise me if he did. Defensive touchdown. Mr. Mason, you've got it. Yes, I do as well. We just expecting that to come this week for sure.
I'm expecting Peyton Bowen to pick something off. Jackson is forced on a 3rd and long to throw into coverage, doesn't look off the safety, doesn't read what's going on, and Peyton picks his pocket.
Yeah. I mean, and that would be something, being high school teammates and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So he knows Arnold backwards and forwards. So, and it's a function of pressure too, right? Second half, OU's up, Auburn's pressing, RMT's flying off the corner, and Jackson has to make a throw, and he makes a poor read, and Peyton picks him off. Takes it back.
I could definitely see that happening. And you know what else I could see? A Kendall Daniels scoop and score, knocking the crap out of him, or just looking like he's going to, and J.A. crapping the ball out, and then getting picked up and him running it in.
By the way, props to Atlanta Falcon Billy Bowman.
Yeah,
first INT. He's having a great rookie year already.
He's got a sack, an INT.
Yeah, they love him in the ATL.
So. They should. What's not to love? Yeah. So does OU have an offensive play over 50 yards? We all expect that. I think that with the secondary being what it is, I could see multiples of that. Defensive MVP, Marvin Jones. Kchris, tell us why.
Well, hopefully he's healthy.
So no, I think he plays, and I think he just. I want to just say, personally, I think he leads that charge on the defensive line. I think he sets he. I'm not expecting an R. Mason Thomas type of performance out of him, but I think just what you've seen from him with the wiggle and all the rest of that stuff. Chris Mason, what he say if he plays, which I believe he will. I think hopefully all of us believe he will, but. Marvin Jones Jr.'s play, I think that he steps into that YDN position or whatnot. He feels that for our Mason Thomas for the first half, and I think he sets the tone for the defense that day. I think this is a money day. This is a money game for him. This is a game where, hey, there's scouts. There's scouts that's coming to these games. So I think that this is a money game for him. Just like Kendall Daniels, but I think that he helps lead the charge and establishes what we're trying to do, force Jackson Arnold into predictable situations. But when he takes off, he's not leaving untouched.
Yeah. Okay. All right, and then you've got Jaden Jackson, Mr. Mason.
Yeah, I just think Auburn wants to run the ball, and I think Jackson is the anvil that smashes the Auburn running game hammer. I think that's. I mean, if Auburn, I just don't know how Auburn wins this game if they can't run the ball with some modicum of success. And I think Jaden Jackson's a guy that they have to continually double, which opens things up for other guys. And he's just a force. He's playing better and better every week.
Right. Yeah. And True Okie says Gilmore's my sleeper to have a big impact on the D line against Auburn. Yeah, Wyatt Gilmore. He was on that list yesterday as a probable, or I think it was as a probable. So I didn't really notice if he was still there, but
he's off the list. He's off the list.
He's off the list now.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're expecting him to play. Yeah, and with me, I've got Kendall Daniels because, as I said, I think that they're going to put a lot of pressure on him, and backwards pass, some kind of fumble that you can see. Hey, let's not forget he's got 2 fumbles this season. They have recovered both of them, but if you're counting at home, that's 3 more games. So he had 13 games as a start that he started at Oklahoma. He had 12 fumbles. He's added 2 more in 3 games. So 14 in 16 games as a starter, 14 times he's put the ball on the ground. That is a recipe for a turnover to happen this weekend. I wouldn't be surprised if Jackson Arnold was in the fetal position in the locker room after halftime. And it ends up being 35-3, as I say, at the bottom. Jaron Kanik, for me, I already said that. You guys both have material. You're expecting a big game from the Oklahoma quarterback.
Yes. I mean, I'm expecting him to do better than Sawyer Robertson.
Okay.
Better receivers, better offensive line, better defense supporting him.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Chris?
Yeah. I'll jump in here and go piggyback off of what Chris Mason said, and then also go to my final score, which is I'll spot them 13 points. I think they get that probably. I give them a first half touchdown possibly, and then after that, I think it's kind of field goals after that from that point on. I mean, at the end of the day, people, I think it's still the thing of no matter if Jackson's there or whatever case may be, and they've had to kind of adjust their offense to him. I think at the same time you still have some familiarity there. You went into Jordan Hare last year with a handicapped team, figuratively speaking and literally speaking, you went there with a handicapped team.
Right.
So I think that you're coming back into this game environment at home, and you're better equipped to handle it. So it's just one of those things where we hear about how, you see it, how finesse this offense can be, but they want to be physical too. So it's one of those things where excited yet again to go out there and see Arbuckle and Mateer put up some points and put up some good game film. So I think Scott Walker has that's a decent score as well, 24-13. For me, I'm going to go 31-13, but that's a safe score right there, 24-13.
So I went 26-16. And let me explain how we get there is that OU gets a safety, sacks Arnold in the end zone, and Auburn gets there because last year they didn't kick field goals. Instead, they went for on 4th down and twice got busted on it. So I think maybe they'll put a couple of drives together and kick a couple. And their field goal kicker, I think, is he can't be worse than last year. So I think they get a couple of field goals, and I think they get a late 4th quarter touchdown. OU in the 4th quarter up like 26, 6 or something like that. We're just trying to run clock and move the chains. And Auburn, like in the bowl game, the Bob Stoops final game, Auburn scores a pointless touchdown with no time left on the clock.
That's one of the weirdest things on Twitter this week.
It was bizarre. I'm like,
bizarre.
Joe Mixon embarrassed you guys, and so did P. Ryan got our rushing record, and you're
One of the stupidest things I've ever seen.
And you're talking about the fact you scored a touchdown while we were
they
up by
called a touchdown, or they called a timeout to set themselves up to score that touchdown. That's how lame it was for Auburn. Lame.
It was a Cal College move, Jason. It was the
Okie Light all day long.
Epitome of a Cal College move. It was so ridiculous. But anyway, I think they score some garbage points like with no time left on the clock. Pity morale, Aggie-like kind of points. Mm-hmm. That's where I think it goes. I think OU's defense dominates this game, and we're coming out of this game saying I don't think this defense has a weakness. I'm not sure how you attack it and how you move forward against that. So,
yeah, no doubt. True Okie asks, do you guys think Arbuckle has completely opened the playbook this season, or does he have more in the tank? I think he's got plenty in the tank. I don't think you've had to do a whole lot in 2 of the 3 games, and I don't know that he opened it up completely for Michigan. I think you've seen some different stuff each week. Obviously, the Michigan game, he came out in an I formation. To me, I don't think that he's really even probably tapped into half of it yet. So that's just my opinion. And guys like this, they have plays that they run out of different looks and stuff like that. I mean, the epitome of what the air raid concept is to do things with different looks. A lot of similar stuff out of different, different formations and different stuff like that. So to me, no, I don't. I think this is a guy that could come up with something on the fly if he had to, that would work with what he's done in the past to keep the opposing defense kind of on skates a little bit. And I think that that's what you're trying to do is pick on stuff that you see throughout the game, to be able to go back to it, but and kind of change the look so that they don't see it coming again. But you're going to pick on certain things over and over and over again.
The bag of tricks is waiting for us. Is waiting for Dallas.
Well, I'm gonna steer you guys in the right direction. Again, the film tells it all. What's missing from this offense is truly the explosive element. There's an explosive element to this offense that people don't realize is there. Chris Mason, you hit on it a little bit earlier here with the deep throws that were there for like Satania. Shout out to the guys at Championship Standard. Definitely go check out their YouTube. All great content.
Guys, man, those are my guys there.
But when you watch this offense, when you put on the film, they were those sideline throws you're seeing right now. They weren't just the 50 the back shoulder throw to a Keontae Lewis. They weren't the one hand grabs you've seen or the really amazing grabs you've seen by Deion Burks. Those were touchdowns. So I think guys are still getting acclimated to this offense because you go back and watch Kyle Williams last year, and guys is going up and down the field. But also what I'm interested to see, can we get vertical in that seam as well? Because he threw wide receivers out like crazy in those seams last year with that offense, and they were just going up and down the field. So there's still an explosive element to this offense that has not necessarily been there to my liking this year, this season thus far, but it goes back to what you were saying earlier, Jason, which is you pick apart you don't play with your food, you go pick it apart. So a lot of the stuff that I think that some of these defenses are trying to do, which is, you're seeing too high safety, you're seeing all these different looks or whatever because they're trying to keep you in front of them because they know how explosive this offense could be. So with the big routes and different things like that, you've seen that, but you haven't really seen kind of what he wants to do because he loves to attack that sideline, that seam, and he likes to get you.
Still haven't seen a wheel route really yet. So
yeah. I mean, there's we've seen probably, in my opinion, I think we've seen probably 60-65% of this offense because there's the run game, the run element that he wants to get in there that will work. just have to, everybody has to be clicking. But there's also that big play ability in the pass game as far as just working, getting the matchups that you want to just work in those matchups. A lot of teams are really trying to take that away, and they've just given us everything that's been underneath and some of these dig routes. So that's the interesting part.
We want to move to our national predictions.
National predictions. Yeah, let's take a look at last week's first. Uh, Mr. Mason led the way again at 4-2. He's got a 1-game lead on me and a 2-game lead on Kchris. Me and Kchris had 3 losses. The Georgia loss, I mean, it should have been an outright loss, quite honestly, the way Tennessee played throughout the game, but they gagged it away as per the usual. So I'm still wondering why, Kchris, why did you pick Clemson? Why?
Man, their backs were against the wall a bit, and I tried to give Dabo the benefit of the doubt. So
Yeah, and I don't know what to think about Notre Dame at this point. And I don't know what to think about Texas A&M at this point either. They look really good in their receiving core and stuff. And Marcel Reed, I mean, Mr. Mason, you were telling us how trash they were coming into the season, and now all of a sudden, they're in the top 10. So, wow.
It pained me to pick them. I just didn't trust Notre Dame.
Right. No, I get it. I mean, I understand.
Not when I got 6.5. Not when I got 6.5 points.
Yeah. Well, we'll move into this week's My Bookie Pick 5. Make sure to sign up for up to $1,000 in welcome bonus cash. That's 50% of your initial deposit. So make sure you jump in there, check it out, hofmedia.us/mybookie1000. Let's take a look at this week's picks for us. Obviously, we've got, I was building this as we were starting off, so I didn't even I'll tell you the point spreads as we go along. But Oklahoma obviously giving 6.5 still on my bookie. We think, obviously, with our scores, we all believe that they're going to easily cover that one. Florida at Miami. Okay, Chris, tell me why. Tell me why, man, because they looked awful last week.
DJ Lagway turns it around in a big way. Doesn't have to travel on the road that far. He's going down to Coral Gables, so I think he will be fine. I think that they figure it out. I think they make this a tough game. Even though you threw 5 picks last week, you still only lost by 10, which is still something to say. The defense is playing really well. To me, I think it's just a bad marriage right now with the fact that one, DJ Lagway is coming back off that shoulder injury, which again may have been more serious than what we first thought. Second off, it's the fact that Billy Napier is still calling the plays. I think that's kind of a big issue for me right now. I think that he's got to understand that what he did at Louisiana is not the same as what he's doing right now. These are kind of higher stakes, and I think he's got to open it up more. But at the same time, those two got to trust each other, right? But I think that they have the defense, they have the weapons on both sides to challenge this Miami team. I'll give it to them this week.
Do you think they'll cover?
Or you think they're going to win?
I think they'll cover. I think they're going to win.
All right. Okay.
Well, okay. Cool. There we go. All right. The next one would be Illinois at Indiana. Indiana giving 4.5 at home to Illinois. Oh, really? Is that right? Is that where I hadn't looked at it there on the road?
I'm pretty sure I have that right.
So Indiana's giving 4.5 to the visitors, but they're not ranked as high. So I don't think there's any reason why you guys didn't pick Illinois. They look much better than Indiana does. Indiana still has yet to beat a team with an above 500 record this season or last. So
you don't.
They did one. I'm sorry, they did get one against Michigan. I'm sorry.
Actually, the line so it is. I'm double checking here. You had me freaked out that I messed this up. It is Illinois at Indiana, and the line right now is actually so it was
It's
four
what
and a
now?
half. It's up to 6.5 now.
They're saying Indiana's going to win by a touchdown,
That
basically.
is, well, it says IU. I presume that doesn't mean Illinois.
No, it'd be ILL. IU is Indiana for sure.
Exactly right. So,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I don't know, Jason. You don't walk into Bloomington and just come out with a win.
Oh, okay. Okay. I mean, yeah. You guys, you believing in old Coach Sig, huh? Hey,
I'm believing in the Mendoza. Is it Mendoza? Do I have that right? I'm believing their quarterback. Their quarterback is playing great,
okay.
and they've
Yeah.
got a lot of guys returning from. They have a lot of guys returning
That
from
bad
last.
team that looked better than they were. Okay, cool.
I mean, it's
Oh, cool
they
story.
got Mendoza back, and I'm not sure. I probably I just don't. I'm not sure I buy Altmaier. I'm not sure I'm buying the Brett Bielema experience. So
Dude, Brett Bielema, I mean, they're gonna do what they do. They look the same wherever he's at. They're gonna run you over and play good defense. I think that I think they slowed that team down. When we
maybe
saw
this
them
is a
play
little.
somebody with a good defense like Notre Dame last year, the last year's Notre Dame, they got in trouble quick, and they're going to run the hell out of the ball. So I don't think you have to be great through the air if you're Illinois to win it. So go ahead.
Maybe this is a little wish fulfillment. We need these middle tier Big Ten teams
Yeah,
to start beating up on each other. And I think this is a good spot for Illinois to get a loss, then turn around and beat Tebow next week in Champaign. We don't need these middle of the road Illinois Big Ten teams to be 10-2, 11-1. We need them all to be 9-3.
okay,
So
all right, yeah, whatever, sounds good to me. The Michigan at Nebraska. Kchris, you believe in old Big Red, huh?
Yeah, unfortunately, I want to pick Michigan. I think Michigan is the better team, but Nebraska at home, we'll see. That rule, we'll see.
Yeah. What is the that was Michigan's giving a point and a half on the road there. Look, I know what I saw from Cincinnati going in and playing, and it was a neutral field game, but I mean it was a Nebraska home game pretty much. For Cincinnati to be able to go in there and do everything they did against Nebraska in that first week, I don't trust them. And I think that they're weak sauce anyway with the way rules trying to screw around with the schedule. I think it's a lot of smoke and mirrors there. I got the Wolverines.
I think Bryce has a big game.
I do too. I do too. I think that you saw them open him up the next week, and it was Central Michigan, so it's not that big a deal. But I think that you got to get a kid like that some immediate confidence if after the week that they had against Oklahoma. So I think that he looked really good, and I think that Dylan Raiola, this is still just his second year. I don't know that he's a whole lot better than what he is. So I don't have a problem with I like the Michigan pick. And then the last one, Texas Taco Tech, everybody's favorite billionaire story on the road at Utah. You guys got the Utes holding serve at -3.5. I've got Taco Tech, and the only thing I'm going to say is this: they've been blowing everybody up in the first few games. That's all well and good. In most instances, I would pick Utah, but I think that I don't believe in Devin Dampier that much. I think he's a big guy and runs it well. I don't think he's going to be able to throw very well. Um, I, I think that if it turns into a shootout type of game, then they've got Baron Morton is better suited for that kind of game. Is why I got Texas Tech. If they lose this week, I will not pick them again. Period.
Not so fast, my friend. Stop the malarkey. Cut the malarkey. Cut the
Come on,
bologna. Cut
come
the
on.
tuna sandwich. Cut whatever you want to. That. Jason, now that's just about as dumb as me picking Florida at Miami, but here we are. Utah. I mean, Utah is at Utah. Dampier looks like
Utah
he's
was awful last year, bro. I don't
was
trust
doing his thing. I don't see it. I know that Texas Tech has went out there and bought themselves a D line, but hey, you can buy yourself a couple more inches and still not getting the job done. That's all I got to say.
I think the wild card here and why I chose Utah is obviously Texas Tech went out and bought themselves a D line, right? And that seems to be
Yeah.
their biggest upside. Well, Utah has two NFL tackles, two future NFL guys at tackle. They always have a big interior offensive line. They always have good offensive lines. The new offensive coordinator and the new scheme fits exactly that big O line they have, and I've got the guys to neutralize the Texas Tech defensive line additions. So that's why I went with Utah.
Okay. I mean, all I'm going to say about that, I'm not really very. I don't feel really solid in the pick because I don't believe in Texas Tech. Just so everybody understands, I am not a believer in the Red Raiders. But that being said, I'm not a believer in Utah right now either. They think that they're supposed to be, in the Big Ten at this point. I don't think they'll ever be in the Big Ten, but that's just me. Shout out to Zach McKinnell in the chat there. Don't let Jason lie to y'all. He texted me and said he's putting his paycheck on Jackson. Yeah, okay, Zach. good stuff, bud. Good stuff. No, Zach's our guy. Hey, man, this is the Blue Bloods podcast. You guys should go check him out. They do amazing work over there. But he is an Auburn fan, and he to believe in Jackson Arnold, Zach, is wild stuff to me. Wild stuff to me. But in the end, I do want to go back to this one that Kyle was talking about. Let's see. He said nobody's picking Tulane to beat Ole Miss. I don't know why we didn't end up having it on there. We could have probably had one extra one. I think that is. It's a
It's a good game. It's a good game, Kyle. It's a good game, Kyle. I didn't go with that because the Florida Miami game, has a lot of.
There's some implications there, right?
There's some implications for OU there, depending upon what Florida does, because Florida gets Texas before we do, and obviously
Tulane's coach now is better than Willie Fritz, John Summerall. He may be on his way out, but
yeah, I mean, I think
he's a hell of a coach.
Yeah, I mean, if OSU loses to Tulsa, Summerall might be on his way to Stillwater very soon.
Yeah, I think that's who they should be trying to get. I don't think that's who they're trying to get.
No, that's not who they're going to get because he'll be out of their price range probably.
I think
he'll have better options. But yeah, I
think he goes to Arkansas or Kentucky where he went to school and he's coached there already.
Yeah, that would make some sense. So yeah, I think I like Tulane in the points. I don't know what to do with that Ole Miss Arkansas game. Last week, right?
Yeah, I think
the backup
is that Taylon Green is a bad dude.
Right, but is Ole Miss's D that bad? Is Ole Miss's D that bad? Is Arkansas D that bad?
They lost like 8 guys to the league last year, and most of them were off of that defense that they had.
So it was basically, and I know Arkansas fumbled a pass, and they were on a drive to maybe score or go ahead. So I don't know what to do with that game in terms of what does that mean about Ole Miss overall.
Yeah.
So, but I would definitely take Tulane in the points.
I'll take Tulane in the points for sure. That's where I'm at too. I don't know that they end up winning it necessarily, and I think that Ole Miss has kind of come back to
the pack a little bit.
But they've found a way to win. I mean, that game against Kentucky looked terrible. But I think Kentucky kind of has their number, is what that is more than anything.
Yeah, well, I think Stoops knows how to. I think there are certain defensive coordinators and coaches that have the lane scheme figured out, right? Like I know what this is. I know how to defend.
So I'm going to take the points, but I don't necessarily think they win. But I do think Tulane could win it, and I definitely think I like Summerall a lot. I think he's doing a great job there.
Yeah, the last game I'll be keeping a big eye on is Missouri, South Carolina.
Yeah, I guess
there's Sellers play. I mean, that's a big game.
Plays, but yeah,
that's a big game for us in terms of those two teams. Keeping an eye on where those two teams are.
Sure.
I mean, because if Missouri blows out South Carolina like Vandy did.
Yes.
South Carolina could just pack it up, and Sellers could say,
I think South Carolina is trash. I've been saying
you have been saying you've been consistent.
Yeah, I don't believe in Beamer whatsoever.
I think
I don't think that even with I don't think even with this guy, even if Sellers plays, they're going on the road and playing in Como. No. I think that as much as I can't stand Mizzou, and we know this, I think that what they've gotten out of Ahmad Hardy and Prabula too, they look really good, and their defenses look pretty good. I think that South Carolina gets trashed in that game.
Right. So that's a game to watch, I think, just because we play both of those teams, right? And we catch South Carolina, after our big game with Texas and after their big game with LSU, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how South Carolina responds to just basically, we lost our quarterback, we shit the bed at home, we got our ass kicked. What do we have left in the tank? And what does Sellers have left in the tank, like with this season? Because he's got people, his agents telling him, look, you're not going to play 12 games getting your ass beat out there.
Yeah.
We're gonna shut it down, and you'll just go to the draft. And if you stumble a couple of spots, that's fine. Someone will pick you. Especially with Lagway, everything else. With everything else, the quarterback draft looks like a mess right now. Right? Klubnik is playing like crap. Nuss is hurt and playing like crap. I mean,
I still feel like LSU is going to find themselves.
Well, I think he'll get healthier, and I think they'll find their way. But but it's not like they haven't.
It's a lot better than we expected it to be, for sure, right?
We'll have a next week as a sort of preview. We'll still with no game, but we're going to take advantage of the bye week. We're going to do kind of a quarter of the year review. We're going to go back over our playoff picks, and everyone gets some mulligans. Redo your playoff picks.
Yeah. We'll do that.
And we'll do that for you guys. Do a kind of a, quarter of the, third of the schedule.
Quarter
review.
poll.
Quarter poll.
These last two. There's a couple of games we could talk about a little bit, at least.
Memphis, there'll be some. There'll be some games
on the road at Memphis too. And this is kind of weird to me that they're playing this as a road game. But I mean, listen. This is a tough game for them. Memphis has been really good. I think on the road it could be a tough one. And Arkansas is kind of in trouble if they don't win this game, wouldn't you think?
Jason.
Yeah.
Jason, come on, man. Come on.
But Taylor Green is on a
heater, man. I like
Taylor heater.
So. They get that done probably by 2 touchdowns. Come on.
Okay. All right. Now one more. There you go. Does Okie beat Tulsa?
They have to.
Gave the job.
They have to.
I don't know.
Well, they just
got
They got a new quarterback this week, right?
That can't pay their own bills.
They got a new quarterback this week somehow, right? Some guy from North Alabama all of a sudden is transferred there or something.
So weird, dude. Right? Yeah.
It's like is that the pity portal that they're accessing? That you only get to access if if people take pity on you? I mean, is that like what that one was? I don't know, man. If this is the last game they actually they have a better than 20% chance of winning on their schedule, according to all the metrics, machine.
They're screwed if they don't. And look, I mean, I think if for some wild thing that Tulsa finds a way, you got to fire Gundy. Then you have to fire him, right? Are they gonna win at least, Kchris? Is Okie gonna win?
People that are negative and voicing their opinion are the same ones that can't pay their own bills.
They have to win. I mean, I don't think they can. Can they fire Gundy midseason? I mean, this early?
He's
not like he's Deshaun. He's not
what I said in my column. Let me say this: what I said in my column. You need to fire him yesterday.
Well,
because here's the thing: if you don't find a way, who the hell are you going to get to come replace him if you don't have some time to work on your NIL thing and come up with something that somebody's going to want, or give them time to say, okay, yeah, I'll come, but this is what we got to have, and then they put that into place before they announce it. I don't think that it's going to help them for the rest of the year. Whoever. You can make either of those coordinators the head coach. It's not going to fucking matter. That's not what I'm saying. I think you need time to go out there and say, hey, we want to bring you in. What do you need for us to bring you in? And even if that's Zach Robinson, whatever it may be, I think that you better go do that, because the longer you wait and the worse it gets, I think that it becomes less attractive to candidates and it becomes less attractive to players as well.
Well, I mean, Gundy has like way more equity than Deshaun Foster and the Vatek guy who got pounded by Old Dominion. But yeah, I mean, at some point that you
How
do.
much equity can you have at 0-9 in the conference last year without Big Brother in it?
I'm just telling you. I mean, he has more winning seasons than those guys. So, I mean, just that's the reality. But I'm with you. I mean, at some point you have to recognize the fact that there are 2 other schools who are already ahead of you making plans. And I know Zach Robinson is who they're banking on to be their savior, but
he said that, I mean, apparently there was a plan in place to have him be either head coach in waiting or head coach. But did I get a pick out of you there, Kchris? Or are you just standing there going, I don't know?
They win, man. I said that they win.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think that's enough Okie Light discussion. We'll call it a night.
Come on, man. We had to bust some balls a little bit. Come on.
You
This
know,
wouldn't be right on Sooner Intel to not talk a little smack about the ugliest.
So can I talk some Texas smack real quick?
Please.
So apparently, this is the rumor flying around, so it's probably completely false. They had a knockdown brawl at practice today because the defense was mocking the offense throughout practice. And they
call your team trash. That's what they are, trash.
So apparently they had a knockdown drag out brawl.
That's awesome.
At practice because the offense got mad because the defense was making too much fun of them during practice.
Wow. Where did this come from? From a source or for did you see it out there?
You say knockdown brawl. You mean fight?
Yes.
Okay.
Offense and defense went completely at it.
Love it.
In practice. That's what I heard.
That could be a good thing though for the Texas offense.
It could be completely false too, but I mean it's too juicy not for me to at least get it out on our pod.
Yeah, well, you know.
The brand has finally returned. Fuck your brand.
All right, guys.
All right.
Anything else? Appreciate everybody coming in. Make sure that you hit the like button on all 3 streams. We'll see you on the next one.